you guys just a second, just trying to get this camera set up, which tends to be a task for me. Get me high. Still cold here in the Northeast right now. For those who don't know me, my name is Rowan. My mom is from the West Indies. My dad is also. I was born and raised in New York, Mount Vernon, New York to be precise. I was raised Christian, and now I just practice Messianic Judaism, which is still the book, but it's not mainstream. But this is not a discussion about my faith in Yah. What this is a discussion on truth. Now, it's easy for people to hate another race, to want to kill other people as a result of pain and suffering that they've that's been afflicted. Okay, riots happen, but we can agree that riots occur because people don't know how to express themselves. Yeah, there's a few people who capitalize on the ways of other people and things of that nature. Yeah, all right, fine. I'm not one for that whole logic of let's just not spend our money with these people to show them that we are angry. I think that sovereignty, whether it be an issue of filling out paperwork or whatever you have to say, is something that's of great necessity for blacks in America. Not based on religion, but just because of the fact that they are black. The LGBT movement and PETA and Jewish people in America, Hindus in America, Buddhists in America are able to do tremendous things. People always say segregation is bad, segregation is bad, segregation is bad. Sometimes it's a necessity. You can't go to a Jewish kid and explain certain things you saw on TV and explain certain acts and operations. Their kids don't know it. And I was saying something one day about my dog to my neighbor's son, and he explained to me, my child doesn't know that yet. You see, I wrote this several times, and people can call me long-winded or whatever, but as much as people talk positive about Jewish people in America right now, they don't know there's a history of hate by Christians dealing with Jews, okay? Especially Jews coming to America to live, right? Republican or Caucasian, whatever you call it, Democratic, Caucasian, whatever. There's a history of Americans in general who don't like people coming into America. And that is including blacks as well, because when Jamaicans were coming into this country, while Americans are of the auto industry, Reynolds Wrap, aluminum foil, and all those places that were able to get a little bauxite from Jamaica were capitalizing on Jamaican minerals. Jamaicans were allowed to come to this country, fine. They are also heavy food producers in America. As soon as America found another bauxite plant, I would say, or bauxite mine, if you will, they left my mom's country, and they left it dilapidated. They harmed them greatly, okay? America was also the hitman for Britain in Haiti when they kicked out those people for centuries of slavery. They decided that, hey, we're going to force you to pay back your old masters for what came. Okay? Now, I just talked to this guy, and I'm going to say his name, and his answer for dealing with people. And I shared another video with it because I feel like we should share all the information regardless of how we feel about it. Is that we should boycott Walmart, because if we don't spend money at Walmart, then Walmart will start bending to our ways. Okay? When Jewish person needs something, they create their own businesses, and they only buy from Jewish people unless they really have to go outside of that source. Okay? As a result of that, in areas where there is a high Jewish population, because let's get this straight, Jews integrate with one another and focus on Jewish things. Okay? It's the kids that leave the Jewish kingdom, if you will, and go out and do these wild crap that you hear about more often than not, regardless of whether or not they're Jews or whatever. This is not the discussion. Right now, it's the truth of the operation of a people. Okay? They're segregated unless they want to integrate, when they want to integrate. As a result, you can't tell a Jewish person they have to work on Sabbath. Okay? Feast days, Jews have the ability to do as they need. When their women are pregnant, they take care of them. Okay? You're talking about, people are talking about, somebody is talking about, many people are talking about not giving money to organizations or companies where your brothers and sisters, your black brothers and sisters currently work. And they're going to be the first people to be fired when this happens. Okay? People want to give me percentages of black people that work at Walmart. I would like to know the percentages of black people that practice group economics. I want to know how many black people started up businesses, put their children in those businesses, put the homeless in those businesses, took the homeless in, got a place for these homeless people, then gave them knick-knack work, whether it's collecting cans so we can melt it down and reuse it, whether it's raking our leaves so we can make our own compost and fertilizer to raise our own crops, to take care of our own garden, whether it's sending them to school so they can get their GED and probably learn how to be a plumber so we can do aquaponics in our house and grow our own food inside. I want to know who's doing that. You see, even though the person that I talked to didn't agree with the thought process of me going to school down the street from Grace Baptist Church, little Al Sharpton's church, that really took an effect on me. Actually, it caused me to not want to participate in politics in general, because most of the black people in the area participated in it, and the time spent with the children was not there. It was actually quite lacking, in my opinion. So the people in my generation, the early 80s, who were drug dealing and all that other foolishness that was going on, lack of connection to family was a big issue with that. Let me check the time of this video. Still doing good. As a group of people, I think that we have not done a very good job as far as showing our kids how to take care of each other, how to fend for one another. One of my brothers, I always mention them when I talk, is Dwayne, and he was saying black men don't know how to grow no crops no more. They don't know how to do none of that. We did. What changed? You see what I'm saying? The solution that he came up with is not buying Apple products. The solution that I'm telling you, and I know is better, is to send our babies to college for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years if we need to, on our buck. Make them the designers, make them the engineers. Let them design a product suitable for us. Who cares if the FDA approves it or not? And then they reproduce it. And we don't need Apple anymore. Who cares about them bending to our will? We don't need Walmart anymore. Who cares that they bend them to their will? And let's get this straight. My biggest thing with that is that you not supporting Walmart in your thought process would be my cousins who work for this company not having a job anymore and not having an alternative for them. I'm an optician by trade, okay? Unless you have an alternative for me to work, whether I get a job at Walmart or not, or anything, then why should I think that that idea is correct? Okay? You want to boycott any organization. Know that when they close down and that building is dilapidated and they file bankruptcy or they write that off on taxes, that cup of debt goes back into the pot for that city. They don't keep that debt. So attacking an organization because you think that that's the way to get them to listen and still depending on that organization, to me, is crazy. Because in the end of all things, when you're hungry, you're not the one raising the chicken. You're not the one raising the wheat. You're not one filtering and purifying the water. You're not the one going to the cow to get the milk. You're not doing none of that. You're buying from them. Okay? If you own it and you control it, then you're able to decide what happens. And you will not depend on anybody else. Despite whatever anybody has to say about any of these corporations or organizations, whatever they think they're doing or not doing, how they think by marketing they're oppressing people, or how they think by being a part of the United States they're giving money to prisons, whatever. The fact of the matter is black people work there. And unless you have an alternative for black people, know that what you're posing is a threat to black people. Because in the end of the day, that you finish protesting, black people still need to wake up and go to work. Black people still need to find something to eat. Destroying buildings is not right. They don't have a voice. So that's what they do. Okay, great. I'm not a big buyer. I'm not a big spender. Unless it's on books, unless it's on food, or bills, I'm pretty much to myself. I don't go clubbing. I don't go chilling with the boys or none of that stuff. I mind my business. So, a lot of the stuff that people are talking about, I'm not doing already. I'm probably part of the 55% of people who are not spending in Walmart, if you will. And even that's a lie, because I do spend in Walmart to buy stuff that I'm trying to use to raise money to be able to help take care of people. But even still, the attack on Walmart, or using Walmart as a tool to attack a situation, is not the answer. Depending on Walmart is the problem. Only because, in the end of all things, as an adult, we need to teach and train our children independence. And part of being independent is not depending on anyone for food, water, shelter, and finances. Land. Right now, China and America are trying their hardest, and actually China's in. America's sanctioning to get back into Jamaica, to enslave them by controlling their land, by controlling their research, their resources. I can't say words, that's embarrassing. Anyway, so where taxes disappear when a person dies in the West Indies, their children are going to be responsible for those taxes, and they're going to end up not owning things. America's going to own things. Research the IMF in Jamaica and all that other stuff, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Research Sargon, who was the king of Sidonia, or possibly Akkadian. Learn that the answer is not always to get people to see you, but to get people to see you. Research LGBT, the lesbian, gay, transgender groups, because as much as I'm against homosexuality, the three things that I hear all the time, that I know, that people are afraid of and afraid of dealing with, are Jews, LGBT, and PETA. They're organized. They're one. Now, lately I've been researching and using this word sovereign. We do need to be sovereign. The words for sovereign means we need to decide for ourselves. Let me check this time. If we decide what happens for ourselves, then there will not be necessity to go to people when we have problems. Okay? Lobbyists is one of the hugest misunderstood things in the United States of America. People don't understand what a lobbyist is. Okay? Instead, they praise the ability to be Democrat, Republican, which my father is not either of the two. And that's not how he raised me. The fact remains, though, is that on paper, Democrats look better than Republicans. And I don't like Democrats. I don't like Republicans. I like people. Lobbyists are designed to go out and deal with politicians head on issues. So when you go out and you ask why is it that this politician did this, it's because he's freaked out of his mind. She's freaked out of his mind. Yeah, you voted them in, but they just got sued 30 times because they did what you asked. So now they're battling court lawsuits. We are fighting for legislation. So that's what they do. You see, this guy tried to put out what he does and everything else and what he has, and that's fine as well. So the thought process is that I haven't done anything because I don't have what he has. I'm doing something right now. And what I'm telling you is that we need to raise our own up. This is the concepts that Malcolm X said, that Marcus Garvey said, that W.E.B. Du Bois said. These are the concepts of our forefathers to erect our own. Even if it's not on the level of black, historically, people would pay other people who had to train up their own so that they can come back home and be great. To be able to have a child who could have never learned to be a blacksmith, now be a blacksmith in the village. And now I don't have to travel miles for a blacksmith. I got my own blacksmith and I'm able to rear my own children. That's power. If you're complaining about Apple and Walmart and all this other stuff, then I tell you to save up your money and open up your own business. Even more serious, I say to you, raise up your money, create businesses that help the whole entire populace so that we can erect our own to the higher planes. Having your own engineers means your own cell phone technology, your own computer systems, your own iPads and iPhones and satellites and antennas and television companies. Okay? Plumbers, heating and AC. That gets you aquaponics in your house. Raise your own fish. Be able to design your house as you see fit. Being able to clean your water as you see fit and reuse it as you see fit. Raise your own herbs, which means better health care and nutrition. This is where we should be standing right now. I talk in other groups when they say certain things, and I always ask them their solutions because I don't see their solutions as being the answer to our problems. I really don't. Because I think our problem is that we depend on the wrong people. If I am a child and I am angry with my mother and I don't have no job and I don't have any degree and I do not buy my own clothes, buy my own food, let's say I'm 19 or 20 years old and I get mad, then what's going to happen is she's going to stop giving. And either I'm going to find another master or I'm going to beg her to reconsider because I need it. That's called dependence. Black Americans are dependent on other people. As a result of this dependence, there's issues. People want to talk to me about killing cops and all this other stuff. Let's get more clarity on this subject. In the early 80s and 90s, you were not allowed to say shut up. You were not allowed to say shit. You were not allowed to say bitch. You could not show a girl in her bra strap on regular television. Because if you did, that was called issue of morality. I just read this story on the 15 things you did not know about Thundercats. And cartoons got a lot of flack in the 80s compared to today's nasty garbage about violence. So as a result, they paid psychologists to look at and analyze every single Thundercat cartoon to make sure it had morals inside the cartoon. So that every single time kids watched it, they learned a valuable lesson to formulate their mind. So people talk about record companies and everything else, and if I hear all the time about I'm gonna shoot this person and I'm gonna get this girl, I'm gonna have sex with her, and my daddy ain't gonna take care of me, that destroys you. That messes you up in your head. You're not clear. And it's easy to say that somebody should get over and grow, and some of us do. you know, and then some of us don't. What becomes an emotional issue for some may not be an emotional issue for others. But still, we need to fix those problems. It's our responsibility to deal with those issues. If we're not dealing with those issues, we have nobody to blame but ourselves for when things go wrong. Taking the money to invest in those things, and people are doing it. And that's one thing I've been thinking about whenever I say this, is that there are people already who do this. And I need to start going to find them out and to go and to understand them myself. That does not change the fact that we are still responsible for each other. You raise these kids up with adaptable education, with hobbies, with connection to the elderly and to us. You store finances today so that they can have this later. You make sure that these kids turn out to be debt-free and they become kings in a world that sold them short. That's what I'm talking about. We need to start teaching truth. We need our own schools. We need our own hospitals. We need our own food production. We need our own businesses. This is true. You think boycotting is going to change something? When I say that even when Martin Luther King was here, the boycotting only got them hurt enough to put something on paper real quick to shut us up. You disagree with it? Prove it.